Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Now is a great time to be a prepper. Excuse me. Now is a great time to increase your preparation, do more, encourage others to either get into preparedness or to do more. I'm gonna pay attention to what I'm doing here. The world is fascinating to me right now. What's going on in the world? We have riots going on, big riots in Lebanon, in Venezuela, in Hong Kong. Where else? There's two more places. Y'all will list them. Oh, what's it called? Catalan? I know, I should know this. I know one of our members here actually owns a house there. Breakaway Catalonia or something like that. Breakaway part of Spain. They're having big riots there. It's just crazy. So there's strife, right, and turmoil. And then we've got this whole thing with U.S. Politics. Let me come back to U.S. politics because I'm probably going to dwell there a bit. Brexit. What's going on with Brexit, you know? The Brits voted to come out of the EU, and then all the powers that be and the globalists are just fighting that tooth and nail. And they've been putting on a huge propaganda and psychological warfare campaign on the Brits to get them to go, maybe we don't want to break away from the EU. And it's globalism versus populism, really, in a lot of ways. And where's that going? Supposedly the 31st is a deadline of some kind. You've got the ball dropping on these famous people vis-a-vis the Epstein, pedophilia crap. Prince Andrew, whoever the heck he is, one of Elizabeth's sons, I guess. I saw a headline, I didn't read it because it looks like the stuff that should be in People magazine, that one of their princes that married Meghan Markle, whichever one that is it Harry? I don't know. Is disgusted, doesn't want to do that stuff anymore. Yeah, who blames him? Maybe that means he's got a soul. And then in the U.S., got a lot going on. Ever since Trump was elected, all the powers that be wanted him out. It wasn't supposed to happen. Hillary was supposed to win. At which point, I think by now we'd be in war with Russia. And Trump made me mad by abandoning the Kurds. And somebody here said I was letting my emotions get to me, so I sat back and thought about that. And I think in a lot of ways you're right. We did not promise the Kurds that we would help them defend against Turkey. I'm not totally off of I support the Kurds in general. I don't like the Turks. And really, what are we doing getting messed around with any Muslims, which includes the Kurds? That's just a mess over there. But Trump said when he campaigned that he was pulling us out of the Middle East and we had no business being in those wars. And so to that end, he's kind of doing that. I saw something where the Pentagon is making up plans for a quick withdrawal from Afghanistan should that be ordered. They did a bad job withdrawing quickly from Syria. They left enough stuff there. Man, I'd like to have just 10% of the stuff they left there to put on to Shofar Mountain. My goodness. But now the optics are just horrible. We're not protecting the Kurds, but we're sending our soldiers to protect oil wells in Syria. At which point I just need to wake the heck up. Because the only reason we're in the Middle East at all is because of oil. And we make up all these different reasons about people being oppressed and human rights and and defending freedom and democracy and whatever. It ain't about that. It's totally and only about oil. That's the only reason we're there. And so, yeah, it makes really sense in realpolitik that we're guarding the oil. That makes sense. But anyway, all of that's going on. Russia just flew 2 strategic bombers, or they're fixing to South Africa just to show they can, something they've never done before. They'll learn lessons there, although I'm sure they've flown their strategic bombers all the way across Russia before, so they know about long-distance flying. But still, this is an interesting world in which we live. And then you've got the creatures trying to drum up the noise to impeach Trump. You've got the new John McCain, Mitt Romney, getting press. Why anyone pays attention to that guy is beyond me. But their bottom line, and I think it was Rush, Kate, my wife and I were driving, and we were listening to Rush, and he said the Democrats' 2020 campaign plan is impeachment of, or just the story of impeachment of Trump. That's all they got. They have no ideas, which they don't really have any good ideas. So that's what they're going on. Who knows? The American people, where are they? I keep seeing these polls, which I don't read, but I see the headlines on Drudge. I surf Drudge. And it's like, so many percent of Republicans are interested in impeachment or something like that. Like these people, man. I think, which is why I started out saying it's a good time to be a prepper. I think there is an excellent chance that our next president will be a Democrat. And have you seen the noise they're making about Hillary stepping in at the last minute? That's interesting. I still say she's evil, like really evil. I don't know that any of the other Democratic candidates are evil. They're all just losers and terrible people, and they're communists, except for Tulsi. I kind of like Tulsi. But I think there's a good chance that a Democrat could win next year, which then means 2021, look out, right? Because that's when that person would take over. I think it's quite likely, and I'm not alone in this thought at all, that there is going to be more increasing violence in America, political violence, as we approach the election. That could happen. And then the government will crack down, and then they'll make laws that affect you and me, and I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Actually, right now I'm not in the middle of nowhere. But I live out here in the middle of nowhere, and it'll still affect me. The laws they pass for the freaks in Portland and Seattle and stuff like that. So if you knew that a socialist Democrat who hates all things American was going to be the president, and they were going to have a House and a Senate to back up what they want to do. And here's one thing that's always been true, at least in my adulthood. When the Democrats have power, they use it. When the Republicans have power, they don't. I gotta get over. But if you knew that a little over a year from now that was going to be the case, these socialists in charge of our country, who I think they all, Republicans and Democrats, want to take us to war. So I'd say the chances of us being in a war, unless Trump wins, are high. The chances of our economy crashing if a Democrat wins are high. The chances of horrific socialist rules and laws and executive orders being made. That, by the way, Obama set the stage for ruling by executive order, and Trump just doubled down on it. He's issued more executive orders, evidently, and the next president will issue more. It's a lot of power. What do you think America is going to look like in a little over a year? Man, I think it's a great case for coming out of her, my people, getting yourself as self-sufficient, self-reliant. I like that term. I know who said it. I can't say the name right now. I can't think of it. But I think you should be getting self-reliant as you can. Because once it happens, you won't be able to. It'll be too late. I hope you have a year. I really do. I hope you have a year. I met some people over the last week who all want to move to the Ozarks. They all have ideas of moving to the Ozarks and plans to one degree or another. And I asked the one person, I said, so when are you going to be here? Well, I hope to be here next year. Yeah, I hope you are too. What if that's too late? What if it's not? But I'm not saying you have to go to the Ozarks, but I am saying you got to come out of just what I just left, the built up places. Get out in the countryside. Get some gardens going, get some orchards going, get some critters going that you can eat. Have your water sorted out, your septic sorted out, your heating and cooling sorted out. Be able to be self-reliant. You may have to be. And you'll probably hear me talk about this as it happens more and more. But it's easy to get emotional, and they want us emotional. They want us amped up and doing all the things, because emotional spinning people are easy to control, easy to steer. Forget all that noise, man. There's nothing you can do about that. There is nothing I can do to affect who the next president of the United States is. There really isn't. Nothing I can do about it. So then why should I worry about it? Why should I spend my emotional energy in it instead of doing what I'm doing now, which is get some feed? And I'm looking at a whole bunch of stretch limos. That's interesting. I think they're for sale. Getting some more feed for my critters and starting to think about the things I'm going to build now that the Tigers and Chicks are gone. Forward motion on the homestead, right? So that when this thing falls apart, at least me and mine are doing okay. We'll be doing great relative to the masses. Do the best you can do with what you got where you're at, but don't let that be an excuse for doing too little. A lot of people use that concept of doing the best you can with what you got where you're at, whether they use those words or not. Well, I'm doing the best I can. In most cases, no, you're not. No, you're not. I think every one of you, us, should be calculated in how we are approaching preparedness. I know, sorry the light, but I can't move this thing. I think you should pull yourself away from the electronics for a while. Go sit in the woods. It's a great time of year to sit in the woods. Have a little notebook to write down your ideas. Think about, where do you see this going? Where do you see it going for you and yours? And what's the probable worst case? If something's gonna go wrong, what's it probably gonna be? And then think up what you need to do to address that. just like I say, you know, basic preparedness prepares you for a myriad of different things. Basic homesteading, oh yeah, that puts you in a position to deal with a whole lot of things. I feel bad for the American people. I feel bad for people in general who aren't living a somewhat agricultural lifestyle. And I have caveats to that. If you're a wheat farmer in Nebraska, and that's all you got is, you know, $500,000 in debt and a wheat crop out there, but you have no veggie plot or no critters or no way to heat your house, you know, you're just like everybody else, except you drive an expensive combine during the day. You're not in that great of a position either. I'm talking about homesteading the way it used to be. 5 acres in Independence, you know, that kind of stuff. Intensive production, sustainable production. Doing more with what you have. I said recently, even if you live in suburbia, you should be gardening because you learn things now that you can apply with you. It's not like, most of the people who commented on that comment agreed with me. It's not the kind of thing you learn by watching a YouTube video or reading a book or having a library. You have to do it. You have to get dirty. Think about what's coming. Really think about it. Think how that will affect you. Try to go second, third order effects. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Okay, if something bad is going to happen, this is probably what it's going to be. What do I need to do to meet that? Start working on that. Start working on that. All right. I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. I'll see you out there.